again, quilters, welcome back to my channel, Pages and Stitches. That's spelled pages, the number 3 stitches, both here and on Instagram. My name is Kelly, and I'm very excited to be bringing you my February update here this morning. Today is March 3rd. I had to think about that for a second. It's Sunday, March 3rd, and I am bringing you Quilters Corner update number 28, my February update. So if you have found your way here, thank you so much for joining me today. I will have posted my floss tube right before this one. So if you watched that one and then you came over here because you heard about it from there and you got curious, thank you so much for checking me out here on my Quilters Corner. It's a similar style video, like a vlog style video of what I'm working on, but instead of cross stitching, it's quilting. And of course, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I so appreciate sharing all of my quilty experience and thoughts and ideas with you guys and having you share yours with me. Quilting and cross-stitching really tend to be very solitary hobbies, so this is a way for me to make it more of a social experience, and I so appreciate that you guys have come along for the ride because I love quilting. So last month I announced giveaway winners of the 3 quilts that I was giving away for my anniversary, my YouTube anniversary. All 3 winners have contacted me and have since received their quilts. I was of course very paranoid once I put them in the mail and they were no longer in my hands, and thankfully they got to their people okay. And in fact, I even received some lovely pictures from one of the recipients showing me that their cat has adopted that quilt that they received, and that was super cute. And then apparently made use of the box that I sent the quilt in as well. So typical kitty. So thank you for those of you who participated. I will have more quilt giveaways in the future. And then of course, to anyone who's watching internationally, I plan to do digital giveaways as well, of gift cards and such, so that you guys can participate too. So like we always do, I like to start with a reading update. If you're new here, the Pages of Pages and Stitches is representative of my third passion, which is reading. And so I like to just do a quick little review of the books that I read for the last month. Not necessarily a review of the books, just showing what I put my eyes on. And then of course, if you came here from FlossTube, you can skip this part because it's the same books. So the first book I read this last month was this one here. This is By a Thread by Lucy Score, just a standalone novel, which was very cute. I love Lucy Score, she's one of my favorites. And then the other books that I read, I'll have to insert pictures for because I read them all on my Kindle app, so I don't have physical copies of them. The first 2 were from the same author. I read The Daymakers and then Paper Heart, which are both by McGinty. And then I followed that up with Scorch by Gemma Weir. I've read several of her books, and this is number 2 of that series. Okay, so let's get into the quilting. That's what you're here for. So as you can see, I have a different quilt on my wall. Actually, I have, a couple of things going on my wall, but the setup you saw last update is changed because those pieces no longer all fit together on this one design wall. So let's get into it. I had originally had my acid trip sampler up here at the top. I have 7 of the 12 blocks finished. I didn't work on it this past month. I just kind of ran out of time when I was doing other things. So acid trip sampler will not be getting an update this time around, but don't worry, it's folded up right there in the corner. So it'll make an appearance for my next update. Yeah, I mean, I haven't given up on it. I just didn't touch it this last month because I was doing other things. Sue me. Also, my set sail quilt that I had finished the top 4 last time, right? I don't know. It is now at the long armor. I literally dropped it off yesterday, so I should be getting it back in a week or so. So whenever you come back, hopefully for my March update, you'll see a finish. You'll see my set sail quilt finished, which is exciting. What's funny is the set sail quilt was my second quilt that I had done entirely with Melody Miller fabric, and the first one being my Stay Gold panel quilt. I'll insert a picture. And whenever my long armor and I were deciding on thread and a quilting pattern, we ended up pulling, I had like this deja vu moment because I was looking at the thread colors we pulled and I was like, I'm pretty sure these are all the same colors we pulled whenever we did the Stay Gold panel. And she was like, I'm going to trust your memory recall because I don't know that. And I was like, we used this specific color. And we almost went with it again, but I ended up switching it for a slightly different color. But I was like, I guess Melody Miller fabric lends itself to a certain kind of vibe when it comes to thread color, you know what I mean? So aside from that, I did manage to get my hands on 4 different whips, one of which is a start and a finish, start to finish, all in 1 month. And so we'll start with that one. So last time I had asked your opinion and your help on a baby quilt that I was working on for a coworker of mine. I have adapted, this is the Lepidoptera pattern by Elizabeth Hartman, and I've adapted this block here into a baby quilt. I've done Lepidoptera before as a baby quilt, specifically this one here for another friend, because all of my friends are very fertile, apparently, which is this block just as a solo quilt. So instead I took this one, multiplied it by 4, and then turned that into a baby quilt. And I had struggled with some color choices. I had a pink, a green, a brown, and then my options were either a gray or a purple. And thank you all so much for your opinions and sharing your ideas and thoughts about what I could do with all 5 colorways. And anyways, so I took all that into consideration and I ended up doing none of it. So the thing is, the purple was just too bright. It's a beautiful color, and obviously, you know, somebody mentioned like it would be nice because mom's favorite color is purple, and that's something that she could share. And then other people suggested that I take the 5th colorway that I didn't use and turn it into a pillow, which was a great idea. But ultimately, the purple just did not go with the design of the room. The room is very like pastel and very warm, so the purple just didn't go. But then I didn't use the gray either because ultimately I decided the gray was too dark and kind of bland. So what I ended up doing was I switched it out. It's still gray, but it's more silver and white. So it's like a, why don't I just show it to you? How about that? Because I finished the quilt. Alrighty. Here, there we go. Here it is. Can you see it? I can't tell. All done. So here's what this block looks like now. It is more silvery. And in fact, I actually used a metallic silver in the wings. So it's a little bit shiny. And I just thought that it looked better as that color palette, because those are the colors in the room, and the purple was just, it was too much. I loved it, but it was not what it needed. So I have the 4 butterflies and I staggered them a little bit. So these butterflies are a little bit further down and those are a little bit closer to the top on this side. And there it is. And then here is the backing fabric, which is this beautiful rosy print. It's all pinks and greens. And then the background, you can see it's like a creamy white, off-white with this polka dot, like a very subtle tone-on-tone polka dot. And then I just did the quilting myself. It's just straight line quilting, nothing special. But I needed to hurry up and get it done because I'm actually going to her baby shower in like 2 hours. I'm about to leave. And so I finished this last night. I did all the quilting and the binding last night because it's gotta go to a baby shower, like right now. So anyways, if you were wondering what I did with the colors, this is what I did. And I will take, you know, close-up photos of everything, but let me show you all the different butterflies. I love that pink one. And then here's the green and the brown. And then this white detail in all of their wings. Let me see if I can get, yeah, see, it's shimmery. Shimmery. So that's cool. So what do you think? What are your thoughts on how it turned out? I'm very happy with it. I mean, I would have been happy with the purple too. Obviously, I love purple, but I just wanted it to be a little bit more cohesive. You know, not that little baby Kinsley is gonna care one way or the other, but I care. So yeah, that's how it turned out. And again, that was the Lepidoptera, or an adaptation of the Lepidoptera pattern by Elizabeth Hartman, who is one of my favorite quilt designers. And then, of course, I will have everything humanly possible that I mentioned linked down below. All the patterns that are still available, fabric lines that are still available. Check the description. And if you see something that you're curious about that's not there, just shoot me a comment and I will either answer your question or I will try to find an answer for your question. So the next thing I worked on is another new start. And you can kind of see it here over my shoulder. Let me try and actually turn you guys a little bit. Yeah, there it is. So this was, I started totally on a whim. It's not a pattern, I'm just improvising, and it's entirely strip scraps. So you may or may not be familiar with the fact that I save, if it's a crumb, I toss it. I don't keep crumb size pieces, right? So if it's so small that it can't be made into an English paper piece hexagon or used as like a long strip, then I toss it. If it's a scrap like this is the binding of that baby quilt. This is big enough to turn into a hexagon, so I'll put this in a separate pile. However, I found that I had a ton of stripped scraps that I just didn't want to get rid of. Either they were too thin to be turned into binding, or I don't know, they were just like long and like enough that I was like, I can do something with it, but I don't know what. I saved that all in a separate scrap stash, and I had recently just organized all my colors. So like, here's my bag of like dark blue and navy strips, and then here's more like the turquoise ones. I have those all lumped up and grouped together. And so I just kind of caught a wild hair and pulled them out and decided I was going to start piecing them together. And then I wanted to see how wide my shortest scrap could get me. And these ended up measuring 4 3/4. And then I cut them, I stopped adding scrap strips on once this got to 15.5, or like a little bit over, and then I trim it down. So this is a 4 3/4 by 15.5 inch block. And I just have different colorways grouped together in a gradient. So I've gone through my greens and that green, and actually that one as well, that's also a green. And then I have a couple of grays that I did, and then I just stopped there because I could have spent all month just working on this alone. But I got all my greens and then my grays done, and then I have every other color under the rainbow, plus a pack of like multicolored that doesn't really fit in any specific colorway. And I'm just gonna keep making them and see how big that gets. I don't know. I don't have like a layout design for them. I might, you know, switch them around. I might do a gradient. I don't know. I have no idea. We'll see when we get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, I mean, let me show you another one. I just started pulling these scraps and lining them up in a way that I liked. And they ended up being these weird kind of oblong blocks. Here's the kind of very light green, minty green seafoam one. This one's my favorite so far. This sort of darker green. I mean, as you can see, like there's repeats of different fabrics. I just have it, you know, I'm trying to be like loosey-goosey with it, not necessarily beat myself over the head if the color gradient isn't perfect or, you know, whatever. But laying them all out, it actually ended up like being really enjoyable. So I'm gonna keep going and see what comes of it. I have no plans for it. That's just what came out of my brain dump whenever I pulled those scraps out. So we'll see how big it gets. Obviously, you know, every quilt I make, I end up with more scraps. So scrap quilts are a never-ending project, right? Because every quilt adds to your scraps. And every time you try to do something with your scraps, it seems like it never makes a dent in your scrap stash. So I guess now the plan with this guy too is like, we need a name for it, right? Every time I have a random quilt that doesn't have a name, you guys help me name it. So now I guess we need a name for that one. So whenever I refer to it, I don't have to call it my random scrap strip quilt. Say that 5 times fast. Dare ya. Alright, so moving right along, the next quilt that I worked on is this one here. This is the My Favorite Colors Moda sampler quilt, which looks like that when it's finished. I am not using the Bella Solids that this quilt was designed for. I am using a collection of cream and gold and navy celestial kind of prints. I will insert a picture of what I have already accomplished previously. It's still in pieces, but as I finish the sections, I'm gonna start getting those stitched together. So I was working on this section. I had this block and I had this block, and so I did this block to complete that section, and then now I can stitch those 3 together. So here is that block, that pinwheel kind of star. This one was easy and fast because there's very few prints in it. There's only 4, most of it being that background print. There we go. And so then we have this cute little moons and stars, navy, and then my golds there in the middle. So make this really cute pinwheel block. So if we compare it to the block itself, it has the like a light green and a dark green, the white background, and then the red accent color. And so I just kind of stuck with that when I was choosing fabric. I kept the white background like this one has, and then the darkest color in here is the red, so I put that where the navy goes, and then golds, 2 different golds for those greens. And so once I get ready to work on this again, I will stitch this section together, and then I'll get started. Probably, you know, I could go either way. I'll probably work on this one, so that way I can finish this section and finish this section, stitch those together, and then stitch this on top of it, right? I don't know. I honestly, it doesn't matter I don't know. But I had already completed this block, but that one's just gonna hang out until I get to that section, so. Oh well. So yeah, that's the plan for the next time you see it, is to start working on the next couple of blocks in the next section, whichever section that may be. So, let's move you guys back up this way because there we go. So we moved you back up this way because the next quilt that I worked on, the last whip that I have to show you this month, is this one behind me, this one here. This is Stars Hollow, designed by Missouri Star Quilt Company. And I am using the Moonlit Garden, I'll insert a picture, the Moonlit Garden line, I believe by Andover, or from Andover. It's by Patty Sloniger? I don't know how to say her name. But anyways, that's the fabric line I'm using. And the background is just a cream and white, or like a peach and white dot from Joann's. So as you can see, I now have it laid out up on the design wall. I have all of the borders cut, but nothing's been stitched together. So that's why you can still see like the selvage lines and stuff, because it's just pinned on the design wall so I can kind of get a visual of it. I don't want to start stitching anything together until I have all of the blocks done. And I have one more row down here of blocks, 4 more blocks. Everything's cut out. It's just, I gotta get those stitched together. Then we can stitch the top together. But I will show you the 4 that I finished last month. So the 4 new ones are this row right here. All of the fabrics you've seen so far, except for this one. This is the last new colorway of one of the prints that I haven't shown yet. So let me bring you in close so you can see the blocks. We got this beauty with the botanical print, but it's in like that peachy color. Very cute. This one, so this is the same star print as the newer colorway that I'm going to show you, but obviously in that teal green, and then we have the limey yellow stripy print. And then here is another one with this print. So this actually, there's multiple colorways of basically all of the prints, including this one, but some of the differences are very subtle. So this is the one I already showed you, and then this is the new one. And I think you can see that like this one is definitely darker than that one. And then the other one is this one here, where you can see that one's even lighter. This is like the middle one with the seafoam and pink flower print in the middle. And then here is the other version of that same accent, but this one's more of like a grass green compared to the seafoam and pink one. And then here is that star print, that pink star print with like a ballerina Barbie pink. Very cute. And then this print here is the only one that doesn't have like multiple colors to it. You know what? That's not even true. There was one that had, because you can see the print, the accent is white with like a gold tan outline. There was one that had a white with a subtle gray, but it was the one square in that entire layer cake that I didn't end up using because I didn't need it. So I just flat out lied to you. My apologies. So, let's see what else there is. So this print here, that's the accent botanical print. That one is white with like multicolored flowers. And then we have it in the peach with the multicolored flowers. And then here's the other colorway in like the seafoam green with the multi-flowers, but they're darker. And then this star print comes in this sort of middle kind of teal green, this dark teal, the ballerina pink, and then the coral. And then, this is fun. And then, okay, so here's the stripy kind of floral print that I just showed you. It also comes in the corally pink and then like the seafoam minty green color in this block. These two leafy prints are the same print, different colorways. We've got a lighter kind of grass green and then a darker green. And then we have, so this sort of yellow-green floral print with the pink flowers also comes in this sort of grassy green color. And then lastly is these two, the moth prints. So there's the darker green, which is the same as the border. And then it also comes in like a subtle pink that I used in this accent. And so I actually do have a little bit of haul this month, but it's not crazy. I just bought the backing fabric for this quilt, but it's this one here. So like I just showed you, there's, you know, the dark green moth print, and then this pink one, that's the other colorway. I got the pink colorway to use as the backing, which you can see. So I'm very excited about that because this is super pretty. This is, of course, Luna moths are not this color. They're like the green color like you see in here, but the design is gorgeous. So this will be my backing for this. And then my plan for next month is to have this finished and all pieced together, and ideally off the design wall so I can move something like my acid trip sampler or my Moda sampler up here. Okay guys, that's it. That's my quilting update for the month. I feel like my videos are gonna be, you know, significantly shorter now because I don't have the haul segment anymore because I'm trying to stitch from stash. If you're unfamiliar, I'm trying to stitch everything from stash and minimize my purchases because I want to. I have everything I need to be satisfied with my craft for years to come. So that's not to say I'll never buy anything ever again, but I don't want to just like frivolously shop for things that I don't have a purpose for. There's only so much room in my sewing room, and I am basically full to the max. So I'm gonna shop my own stash for a while, unless, you know, it's like a situation like with this quilt where I just need a backing and I don't have that. So yeah, if my videos are shorter because of that, I'm sorry. There's only so much quilting I can do in a month. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel about how that baby quilt turned out. Once I get a reaction from Ariana, and which is my coworker's name, and you know what she thinks about the baby quilt, I'll let you guys know how she received it. And then be sure to come back in March so that you can see whether or not I was true to my word and finish that quilt top, and what I make of all my other progress. If you have an idea for what to call this guy, drop it in the comments, and we'll see what I managed to get accomplished in the month of March. March is 31 days, so a couple extra days of crafting, right? That's what the longer months are for, I think. And I am gonna go to the baby shower now. Gotta hit the road. It's like an hour away. So I hope you guys have an excellent March. I hope your February was just as fantastic. And I will talk to you guys again in a month. Happy quilting. Bye.